You've probably noticed it everywhere lately. A random comment under a news clip, "I'm done. I'm moving to Ireland." A viral video of green hills and stone cottages, "This is my sign." A stressed out parent on TikTok, "If I could leave the USA tomorrow, I would." And maybe you've felt it too. Not just the "I need a vacation" feeling, but that deeper, heavier thought, what if I just started over somewhere else? And for a lot of Americans, the place that keeps popping up in their mind isn't Canada, or Spain, or Australia. It's Ireland. Because Ireland feels like a reset button. It feels familiar, but different. It feels English-speaking without feeling like America. It feels like community, history, safety, nature, and slower days. So why are more Americans dreaming about leaving the USA for Ireland than ever before? And here's the real twist. Why do most of them never actually make it? Today I'm going to walk you through both sides of the story, the reasons Ireland has become this escape fantasy, and the hidden walls that stop people even when they really want it. And by the end, you'll know whether the Ireland dream is something you can actually build, or whether what you really want is something else entirely. Let's start with the obvious question. Why Ireland? Because Ireland is one of the few places that fits their comfort plus change formula. It's different enough to feel like a new life, but not so different that it feels impossible. You won't have to learn a new language just to buy groceries. You can understand the culture quickly. You can blend in as a visitor, and that makes people feel like they could blend in as a resident too. And then there's the emotional pull. A lot of Americans carry Irish ancestry in their family story. For some people, Ireland isn't just a nice country. It's a symbol. It's roots. It's identity. It's that feeling of, maybe I belong there. Even if you've never been. And once you add social media into the mix, Ireland has become a constant stream of better life content. Every day you see cozy pubs, warm accents, dramatic coastlines, friendly conversations, little towns, old churches, quiet roads, sheep on hills, rain tapping on windows, and a lifestyle that feels softer. That's the word. Softer. Not perfect. Not magical. But softer than what many people feel right now. Because when people say, "I want to leave the USA," they are often not saying, "I hate my country." They are saying, "I'm exhausted." They are saying, "Life is too loud." They are saying, "Everything feels like a fight. Everything feels expensive. Everything feels uncertain. I'm working hard but I'm not getting ahead. I'm doing everything right and still barely breathing." And whether you agree with that feeling or not, you can't deny how common it's become. Let's talk about the main push factors that are making Americans daydream about leaving. One of the biggest is cost of living. Not just rent. Not just groceries. Not just gas. It's the feeling that everything costs more, and every month requires a new strategy. People are tired of calculating. Tired of juggling. Tired of feeling like one surprise bill could knock them sideways. And nothing symbolizes that stress more than healthcare. For many Americans, even the idea of getting sick carries anxiety, because it's not just about your health, it's about your finances. Then there's work culture. A lot of people feel stuck in a cycle of constant urgency. Constant availability. Constant productivity pressure. You wake up and you're already behind. You're answering messages when you're not working. You're thinking about work when you're supposed to be resting. And even when you do rest, it doesn't feel like rest. It feels like guilt with a nicer background. Add in the feeling of social tension. People are tired of arguing. Tired of being divided into teams. Tired of every topic becoming a battlefield. Even normal conversation can feel risky now. Like you're stepping through invisible tripwires. And whether you blame politics, media, social media, or just the mood of the era, it's real that many people feel emotionally worn down. Then there's safety anxiety. This is a sensitive topic, but it's part of the reason people talk about leaving. It's not always personal experience. Sometimes it's just constant exposure to frightening stories, and the feeling that things are unpredictable. And when you combine financial stress, healthcare stress, work stress, and social stress, what do you get? You get people fantasizing about an exit. Not because they want a new passport. Because they want a new nervous system. And that's why Ireland is so powerful as an idea. Because Ireland represents something many people crave right now. Not endless hustle. Not constant crisis. Not constant performance. Ireland represents a place that still feels human. A place where you can breathe. A place where the pace feels slower and the world feels older. A place where you can walk into a local spot and feel like you're not just a customer, you're a person. Now, is that image always accurate? No. But the point is, it feels believable. So people start saying it out loud. I'm moving to Ireland. And the phrase spreads. But here's what most people don't realize. Saying it is easy. Doing it is an entirely different universe. Because the moment you try to turn the Ireland dream into a real plan, you run into invisible walls. And the first wall is the most brutal one. Eligibility. Immigration reality. This is where the dream usually meets paperwork. A lot of people assume that moving to Ireland is like moving to another state, just with a longer flight. They imagine that if they have money, a job, and good intentions, they can just go. But countries don't work like that. Ireland, like most countries, has specific pathways, rules, requirements, qualifications. And if you don't fit the pathways, the dream stays a dream. This is the part that stops most people. Because wanting it doesn't create eligibility. You can love Ireland. You can visit Ireland. You can even feel like Ireland is your soul's home. But residency isn't based on vibes. It's based on legal categories. And people usually assume one of three things. First assumption, I'll just get a job there. The problem is, getting a job in another country is not as simple as applying online and showing up. Many roles require local hiring first. Many roles don't want to sponsor. Many employers prefer someone already eligible to work. So even if you're qualified, the process can be a wall. Second assumption, I have Irish ancestry. I'm basically in. Now, ancestry can matter, and some people absolutely do qualify through family lines. But here's the catch, not everyone who has Irish blood has a legal pathway. Family stories are not the same as eligibility documents. Your last name doesn't automatically unlock a door. A DNA test doesn't grant residency. You need specific proof and specific connection in specific ways. And third assumption, I'll go as a student and then I'll stay. Studying abroad can be a path for some people, but it's not a guaranteed bridge to permanent life. It's expensive, competitive, and often comes with rules about what happens after. So right away, most people run into the first reality. Even if you want Ireland, you might not qualify for Ireland. And for a lot of people, that's the end of the journey. But let's say someone does have a path. Let's say they can legally relocate. Then comes wall number 2. Money math. And this is where many people quietly back away. Because moving is expensive even within the same country. Moving across an ocean is a whole different cost category. It's flights. It's suitcases. It's shipping. It's paperwork. It's fees. It's time off. It's deposits. It's temporary housing. It's setting up a new life from scratch. And there's one cost nobody talks about enough. The cost of instability. When you move, you can't predict the exact timeline of feeling settled. It might take months to find your rhythm. It might take time to find the right job setup. Time to learn how things work. Time to build community. Time to become confident. And during that transition, you need a financial buffer. Because your first year in a new country is often not your most efficient year. It's your learning year. It's your mistake year. It's your unexpected expense year. So even people who could move, often decide they can't afford to move. Not because they are broke, but because they can't risk losing the stability they already have. And that brings us to wall number 3. Housing. This one surprises a lot of people. Because in the fantasy version of Ireland, housing looks like cottages, quiet streets, cozy spaces, and easy living. In real life, housing can be competitive, limited in certain areas, and difficult to secure quickly, especially if you're new. And this is the moment many people realize something important. You don't just move to Ireland. You move to a specific place in Ireland. And where you choose changes everything. A lot of Americans picture Dublin because it's the most famous city. But the housing pressure there can be intense, and the cost can be high. Then they picture smaller towns, which can be more affordable, but may come with different trade-offs. Fewer job options, different transportation needs, different lifestyle rhythms. And then there's the reality of adjustment. Ireland is beautiful, but it's not a vacation that lasts forever. The weather can be an adjustment for people who are used to consistent sun. Their homes can feel smaller for people used to big American spaces. The pace of certain services can feel slower. And none of that is bad. It's just different. But difference feels cute on day 4. Difference feels heavy on month 4 when you're tired and you miss what you knew. That's why housing and daily life adjustment becomes a major wall. Not because Ireland is wrong, but because relocating is harder than people expect. Then comes wall number 4. Career transfer. A lot of people assume their career will slide over smoothly. But sometimes, the job market isn't a perfect match. Sometimes, certifications don't transfer easily. Sometimes, experience is valued differently. Sometimes, the salary looks lower than you expected compared to your current life, even if other costs change too. And this is where many people hit a deeply personal moment. They realize they are not just moving places. They are choosing what kind of life they are willing to have. Some people are willing to trade income for peace. Some people aren't. Some people are willing to start smaller and rebuild. Some people can't, because they have dependents, responsibilities, or financial goals they can't pause. So again, even if they want it, they don't do it. And now we reach wall number 5. Belonging. This is the quietest wall because nobody wants to admit it. Ireland is famous for friendliness, and in many ways, that's true. But friendliness isn't the same as building a new life. Being welcomed as a visitor isn't the same as being rooted as a local. Making friends as an adult is hard anywhere. And when you move, you're rebuilding your social world from zero. No familiar routines. No old friends. No, I can call you last minute. No deep history. And even if people are kind, it takes time to become part of the everyday fabric. So some Americans fall in love with Ireland, but still feel lonely there. And loneliness can pull you back faster than any paperwork. Now, here's the big truth that ties all of this together. The reason most Americans never move to Ireland isn't because they don't want it enough. It's because wanting to leave is often not really about leaving. It's about relief. It's about safety. It's about rest. It's about stability. It's about wanting life to feel normal again. For many people, Ireland becomes a symbol of a better life. Not necessarily the only better life. Just the clearest image of one. So when the real-world walls appear, eligibility, money, housing, career, belonging. Many people don't push through. Because what they wanted wasn't the relocation. What they wanted was the feeling they imagined relocation would give them. And once they realize how hard relocation is, they start looking for other ways to get that feeling. They change jobs. They move to a quieter town. They reduce social media. They set boundaries. They build community locally. They travel instead of relocating. And that's not failure. That's clarity. But let's also be honest. Some people really can make Ireland work. And those are usually the people who have 3 things: A real pathway. A realistic budget. And realistic expectations. They don't just have a dream. They have a plan. They understand that Ireland isn't a movie set. It's a real place with real challenges. They accept trade-offs. They don't expect the first year to feel perfect. They are willing to become beginners again. And those people often do thrive. Because they are not chasing fantasy. They are building a life. So if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, but what if I'm serious? Here's a simple mental checklist you can run without getting lost. First, can you clearly explain your legal path in one sentence? Not because I want to, but how? Second, do you have a strong financial runway, enough buffer to handle surprises? Third, have you considered where you would actually live, not just the idea of Ireland? Fourth, are you willing to accept the trade-offs that come with starting over? And fifth, are you emotionally ready for a season of discomfort? Because every move, even a good one, comes with discomfort. If you can honestly say yes to those things, then the Ireland dream might not just be a fantasy. It might be a future. But if you can't say yes right now, that doesn't mean you're trapped. It might mean the real goal isn't Ireland. It's peace. It's stability. It's a calmer life. And you can start building that wherever you are, while you figure out what your next step really is. Now let me end with the twist nobody expects. Ireland isn't a magic escape. It's a different set of problems. But for the right person, it can be a better set. And that's what moving is really about. Not perfection. Just a life that fits you better. So here's my question to you. Are you dreaming about Ireland because you truly want to live there? Or because you're craving what you think Ireland represents? Tell me in the comments, if you could leave the USA tomorrow, would you choose Ireland, yes or no? And if you want a part 2 where I break down the most realistic ways Americans actually make the move, step by step, comment the word Ireland and I'll make it next. And if you're into honest, no fantasy videos about culture, identity, and the real world behind the headlines, hit subscribe. Because the next one is going to surprise you.